Most automated systems would have already messed this up. This one didn't. We built this with Node.js, Twilio, and OpenAI. Plus, you can run it locally. Businesses already use WhatsApp as their main communication channel, but the automation behind those conversations usually falls apart the moment things get slightly complex. And they will get complex. Users give information out of order, people change their minds, and everyone expects the system to remember what they just said. I'm going to show you how to build an agent that can actually handle those kinds of conversations. That means answering common questions, keeping conversation context, guiding users through a short reservation flow, and escalating to a human when needed through WhatsApp messaging. To keep this moving, I'm starting from a GitHub repo that already has the boilerplate wired up. The link is in the description, and the full walkthrough lives in the blog if you want every detail. We'll clone the repo to our local machine, navigate into the folder, and launch VS Code, our code editor, from here. Now that we're in VS Code, we need to plug in some variables in order for our code to run. You can see an example of what your .env file should look like by viewing the conveniently named .env.example file. You can make a copy of this and rename it to .env. At this point, you're going to need your Twilio account SID, Twilio auth token, and your OpenAI API key. If you don't already have a Twilio account, it's okay. We forgive you. Just pause this video and click the link in the description below to sign up. Our code requires the public webhook URL in our .env file in order for our server to properly validate the Twilio webhook. Let's set up ngrok real quick. The server by default runs on port 3000. To receive inbound messages from Twilio, I'm using ngrok to expose this locally. Now that our environment variables are filled out, we can run npm install in the terminal to install the necessary dependencies. Then we can run npm run start to start the server. You don't need an approved WhatsApp sender to test this. Twilio's WhatsApp Sandbox is perfect for demos and local development. From the Twilio console, I set the when a message comes in webhook to point at the local ngrok URL. Once that's saved, inbound WhatsApp messages hit my local server. Now I will join the WhatsApp Sandbox by either texting the message shown on the screen to the Twilio WhatsApp Sandbox number, or I can scan this QR code and it will pre-populate for me. Easy. Now I'll send the message to join the session. All right, we're live, and we're sending and receiving messages. Now, let's talk about how the code actually works. At a high level, this app does one thing. It takes an incoming WhatsApp message and decides what should happen next. Twilio delivers the message, the server validates it, and then everything interesting happens inside the agent. So let's dive into the more interesting stuff. The server itself is intentionally simple. It validates the Twilio request, loads session state, and hands control off to run agent. That function in agent.js is the brain of the system. Now, there are a few things more frustrating than having to repeat yourself. To prevent this, we need the agent to keep context. We store a small session object per user which tracks recent messages, whether we're in a flow, and any partial data we've collected. That's why the agent doesn't forget what it's doing when a user asks a follow-up question. For common business questions like hours or location, we don't rely on the AI to invent answers. Instead, we match against a simple faq.json file first. That keeps responses consistent and lets you update content without touching prompts. AI is great, but doesn't need to do everything. This is where a lot of bots fail. If a user sends reservation for 2 at 7 p.m. tonight, most systems read the reservation keyword and ignore the rest, frustrating your users by asking them the questions that they've already answered. Our agent will succeed by extracting details immediately, even on the first message, and then they only ask for what's missing. Let's see this in action. Instead of dealing with a classic scenario of the bot responding with, "I can make you a reservation," and then asking you a bunch of questions like how many people, what day and what time, which you already answered in one simple sentence, we can have a natural conversation while the AI interprets the meaning. Now that this is working, your next step isn't adding more prompts. It's deciding where this connects. In a real system, this is where you'd plug in a database, a booking platform, or a human handoff using Slack, Twilio Conversations for web chat, or even a call with Twilio Voice. Want to let your AI agent answer phone calls? Click here to check out part 2 where we add voice to our WhatsApp agent. All the code is linked below, and the blog walks through everything line by line. Subscribe if you want more practical content like this, and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see next.